Okay, first here now we're going to import a new, like a photo graphic, and then we're going to change that into a vector graphic. So we're going to convert a bitmap to vector. So what we're going to start to do now is we're going to go in and do File, Import to Stage, Import to Stage, and you can pick your own image, whatever you want to use for this. I've got a transformer PNG, and I forgot to create a layer, so I'm going to Command X. I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to call it transformer. Okay, and now I'm on my selected on my new layer, and I'm going to edit, paste it in center, and now I should be on my layer. I'm going to select the free transform tool, and I'm going to shift select the corner and drag it upward. Okay, and now to turn this into a vector, we're going to go under Modify, Bitmap, and Trace Bitmap. And I'm going to do about 120, and that's how it will look. A little bit more cartoony, more so. Looks vector instead of more of a photo. And I'm going to move that back into my background because I don't want it to stand out too much. Although I'm going to lock the outside layers, and I might modify, convert to symbol, call it transformer. Make sure it's a movie clip right here. Okay. And let's try using let's look at the blending modes on that. Yeah, multiply looks good. For what I want, I don't want it to stand out too much. We'll do hard light. Kind of looks like it blends into the background there. Put it over here. And so now we're going to add some text, and we're going to use the 3D transformation tools. So let's select your text tool, and we're going to type in, it has this type Mech Wars in there. Okay. And I'm gonna select the text, and I'm gonna click on the color, and my color picker already comes out, and I'm gonna pick some colors that are already on here. Maybe since I have a dark background, I'll try to pick something kind of light. Do this light blue, and maybe I'll do the second one, and maybe I'll do that yellowish color here. Okay. So now the next thing I want to do is, oh, and I forgot to create a new layer for this one too. So let's do that again. I'm going to select that. I'm going to edit. I'm going to cut. So Command X, and I'm going to create a new layer right here. I'm going to double click and write text. And then I'm going to edit, paste in center. It's behind my robots, which is kind of where I want it. I'm going to lock my transformer so I don't accidentally select it. Actually, I might move up the text a little bit so I can see it first. Okay, so now I'm going to come over here and select. I don't want the top one, the 3D rotation tool. If you click on it again, kind of click and kind of hold, click and hold, you'll see the 3D translation tool underneath it. I'm just going to start with that one. And since I can see it's not doing anything, I'm going to make this or convert this into a symbol. So let's go modify, convert to symbol, and we'll call this also text, and make sure it's a movie clip, and OK. So now I can see my 3D translation tool is working because I've got the green, which is on the y-axis. You can see y-axis usually goes up and down. The x-axis moves left and right, and the z-axis moves forward towards you and back. But if you want it to go forward and back, you have to drag it. You have to click in that center and then click and drag down and then drag up in order to get that to work. And you have to wait for that Z to, when you hover over that front, that Z will show up. The other way to do it is with your text selected down here in the 3D position in view over here in the panel, property panel. You can also move the Z by clicking and dragging left or to the right. Same with your X and Y. Okay. Now when you do the Z, you'll see it's in the center right now. And when you come down here, underneath the 3D position in view, there's a vanishing point right here. If you move the X and the Y, you can see that is where our vanishing point goes. Right now it's vanishing down here in the center. I'm going to move my vanishing point to the left and up a little bit more. And now let me do my Z again. So now you should see it move a little bit more to the left. Now I'm going to move my X over to the right. And now you can see it moves over to the right. Okay, so I'm going to start it back here. And move it back behind my robots. So I'm going to already have the layer. And I'm going to animate this. So let's go over here to the 48 seconds, the 2 seconds, and I'm going to click on that frame on the text, and I'm going to click all the frames. So I'm just going to go straight down all the frames, and I'm going to shift select. Now they're all selected, and while I'm on there, I'm going to right click, and up here at the top there's insert frame. And so now I've got frames for all of our graphics on the board. And now I want to go back to my text, and I want to insert a motion tween. That way I can give it some motion. So I'm going to go to my first frame now, and I'm going to select my text. I'm just going to nudge it to the left and to the right a little bit. That will give it a keyframe because it knows it just moved. And so that's where I want it to start. I'm going to move it to my last frame, and I'm going to move it forward in the Z. Let me select my 3D translation tool, and now I'm going to move it forward. And I got my red line. Sorry for all the noise. And there I have my text moving forward in the z-axis. Okay, now let's go and check out the 3D rotation tool, which is the one above that. And you've got different axes. You got the y-axis right here, which moves it left and right because it's centered on the y-axis. And we've got the x-axis right here, kind of moves it forward and back a little bit. And then we've got the z-axis, which moves it kind of back and forth like that. And then the z, or the orange one, is like a global axis, and it just moves it all over the place. You click and drag, and it'll just go wherever your mouse goes. I'm just going to hit Command Z on that. So it kind of starts there, and then kind of gives it that 3D look there. And I'm going to move my text back, maybe underneath the robot. That way when I move it back, it's behind the robots. And I think I might also do some animation on the robots. So let's unlock those layers. There we go. And let's create a new movie clip for all of these. That way we can move them all together. So we'll go Modify, Convert to Symbol. We'll call it Robot Army. And we'll go to my robot. And it's empty now, so it looks like it moved on a different layer. So I'm going to hit Command X. I'm going to select on my robot layer, and then edit, paste, and center. Move it down to where I kind of had it before. Now I'm going to select my robot army, and then I'm going to insert a motion tween. You can see it changed the color, so that looks like it worked. And let's see, I think, let me move back a little bit, maybe 60% here, so I can see. So maybe that'll be my last frame. You can see I've moved my time indicator to the last frame, so that's where I want it to end. I'll move it now to my first frame. Now let's select the translation tool, and in Z I'm just going to move it back, and maybe on the X a little bit to the side. Yeah, something like that. Simple. Okay, now let's do our hero. So I'm going to select my hero, and I want to insert a motion tween. You see it just changed color. And so let's find a spot where we're going to put them. There's a z-axis, x-axis. So that's where I want them to start. And let's give them the end frame. Let's move them up really close. Sometimes you have to reselect it in order to get everything to show up over here. He goes way off to the side there. Let me unclick the clipping so I can see him. And I'll go ahead and just X and Y. I could also use the selection tool if I wanted to move them. And let's change it to the 3D rotation tool now. Move them off a little bit to the side. Make them look kind of heroic right there in the front. There we go. Okay, and I kind of want it to hold for just a few frames. So I'm going to click onto the 60 and I'm going to add some frames to all those again. So I'm going to click that first frame, click right around 60, click all the way down with Shift, try it again. So Shift click all those. I'm going to right click, insert frame. And so that just holds it a little bit longer. See, it stays where these are my keyframes right here. And so it just holds for the remainder of those frames. All right, let's click the loop button, and I want to move my loop all the way to the very end. And I'm going to hit on my playback, the play button, which is right here in the middle. And then I'll call that finished.